Only me. Serena and Mariah Carey dumped Meg Diva plot she turned off our mic during podcast. The Duchess of Sussex needs to learn that a key part of interviewing is to listen to your subject. That's the view of the Daily Mail's diary editor Richard Eden. Meghan's much-anticipated podcast Archetypes launched this week with an interview with tennis star Serena Williams, but it was Meghan's revelations about life in the royal family that seemed to attract the most media interest. It was very much "That's enough about me, what do you think of me?" Eden says. Instead of Serena making the headlines, all the headlines have been about Meghan's stories and the things she's disclosed during this podcast, and it was a missed opportunity, certainly for Serena. Given that, I'm not sure famous people will be queuing up to go on it, because they'll know it's actually all about the supposed interviewer. The Daily Mail's editor-at-large Richard Kay, meanwhile, believes that the way that Meghan and Harry, who makes a brief appearance in Archetypes, have gone about their new broadcasting career shows the differences between them and their in-laws. They are competing with the usually footsore Cambridges, who seem to go deftly about their royal routine without causing offence or making it all about them, he tells the programme. Harry and Meghan seem to think the only way to avoid being crowded out is to make it just about them. However, Kay argues that one area that the Cambridges didn't handle so deftly was announcing that they were taking on another property as the country battles a cost of living crisis. Did she insult Africa on purpose? All of South Africa is in a furore, and others have joined. Meanwhile, the podcast At the Heart of the Brouhaha is getting a lot of listens. Most listeners are downvoting, but they still count as listeners. Could this be a deliberate ploy to drive traffic? It's not her usual mo. She wants to be admired as perfect, not seen as controversial, but she might have convinced herself that all she had to do was get people to listen and they'd realize how great she is. She may have assumed that being part black and having Serena Williams as a guest would save her from charges of racism. Meghan Markle is allegedly working on editing upcoming episodes of her Spotify podcast Archetypes after the Queen's death earlier this month, in an effort to make sure that nothing insensitive is released. Royal expert Kinsey Schofield sat down for a chat with GB News recently and claimed that not only is Prince Harry hustling to make changes to his upcoming memoir in light of his grandmother's death, but his wife Meghan is also making the same efforts. I have also heard that there are edits being made to Meghan's upcoming podcast interviews to ensure that nothing insensitive or insulting is said in the direction of the royal family, Schofield said. Schofield's comments come just days after sources suggested that King Charles III is waiting for the release of Prince Harry's memoir to decide on his children Archie and Lilibet's royal titles. They are now entitled to being Prince and Princess, but the decision lays in Charles' hands.